Greetings, dear ones. We speak to you now as a collective voice of the Pleiadians, reaching across light years and lifetimes to share an urgent and loving message. I am Valir. For many ages, truths have been buried under layers of ice and secrecy on your world. The southern pole of Earth, Antarctica, holds mysteries long hidden, now ready to emerge as the great cosmic veil thaws. Many of you, especially the awakening starseeds, have sensed that something monumental lies beneath the Antarctic ice. You are correct. In this transmission, we will unveil the hidden story of Antarctica, not as a cold wasteland, but as a central stage where cosmic dramas have played out. We do so with great care and discretion, for these truths have been suppressed by those who feared humanity's awakening. Understand that as the frequencies on Earth rise, secrets kept in the dark are illuminated. This is part of the ascension journey you are collectively undergoing. Antarctica's secrets are integral to your planet's liberation and your species' return to full consciousness. We will reveal how a significant base thrived beneath the ice, how earthly governments knew of this even a century ago, what forces, including the reptilian beings, made this frozen realm their stronghold, and how all of it ties into ancient galactic conflicts such as the Orion Wars. We will even point to hints that were placed in plain sight, for example in your popular culture, to prepare you for this truth. Take a deep breath, dear friends. Feel your inner resonance as you absorb this information. We encourage you to listen not only with an open mind, but with the discernment of your heart. Much of what we share may seem extraordinary, like science fiction, yet many of your courageous researchers, whistleblowers, and wayshowers have been disclosing pieces of this grand puzzle for years. Now, in the spirit of empowerment and unity, we Pleiadians offer you a comprehensive picture. The ice is melting, both literally and metaphorically, and what was frozen is coming alive in human awareness. For decades, a sprawling underground base has existed deep beneath the Antarctic ice, unbeknownst to the surface population. This is not a mere myth or conspiracy tale, but a reality more complex than most could imagine. Hidden away from prying eyes by miles of ice and a forbidding climate, this base grew into a formidable stronghold. It contains extensive caverns and tunneled cities, with hangars and laboratories carved into ancient ice-covered rock. Those few in power who knew of it have sometimes poetically called it Shangri-La on ice, an impregnable fortress built in another part of the world. Indeed, it was intended to be exactly that, a secret refuge and power center, far from the turmoil of the rest of Earth. How did this base come to be? Its origins trace back to human efforts during the tumultuous era of your world wars. During the late 1930s and 1940s, a time when most of humanity's eyes were turned to battlefields in Europe, Africa, and the Pacific, a breakaway group from your country, Germany, was covertly pouring resources into Antarctica. Driven by visions of establishing a new power center, German expeditions discovered vast natural caverns under the ice shelves. Some of these caverns were so large and thermally warmed by Earth's geothermal heat that they could comfortably house bases and even support life. In fact, later scientific findings would confirm that under parts of Antarctica's ice cap are huge subglacial spaces and tunnels, some warmed to spring-like temperatures by volcanic activity. The breakaway Germans found what seemed like a ready-made hidden world beneath the ice, protected from the elements and prying nations. They eagerly set to work building an underground facility, envisioning it as a safe haven where their regime could survive and rise again, even if it lost the open war. We know this may sound unbelievable, but consider the clues. After World War II, there were your U-boat submarines that ferried personnel, technology, and even leaders to secret Antarctic redoubts as Germany was collapsing. The German Navy had indeed scouted parts of Antarctica, which they named something different, during a 1938-39 expedition, claiming territory and searching for places to establish bases. Some of their top officials made tremendous accomplishments kept off the record. For instance, a German admiral spoke cryptically of an unbreachable fortress made from another world. These were not empty boasts. In truth, by the end of World War II, a small breakaway civilization had taken root beneath Antarctica's ice, centered around a fortified base that continued developing advanced aerospace technology away from the eyes of the world. Inside this hidden stronghold, there were underground hangars and high-tech workshops beyond anything known in the 1940s. Whistleblowers, and even your remote viewers who later probed this location, have reported astonishing scenes. Large artificial structures in a snowy, mountainous region, disc-shaped craft coming and going through ice tunnels, and extensive multi-level facilities. Envision a vast subterranean complex, parts of it like an industrial city, with factories and laboratories, other parts like living quarters and command centers. There are networks of tunnels connecting various sites, some leading to under-ice lakes where submarines could and can still dock. By the late 1940s, this Antarctic base had become the refuge for the most advanced remnants of the wartime German regime, effectively a secret space program in embryo. However, crucially, this breakaway group did not achieve all this alone. They had help, and that is where the story becomes truly cosmic. The Antarctic stronghold was from the start a joint human ET venture. Yes, dear ones, extraterrestrial beings, seeing an opportunity, assisted these rogue human factions in establishing themselves under the ice. Which beings and why? We will illuminate that soon. For now, grasp that beneath Antarctica, there developed a nexus of advanced knowledge and power, guarded in secrecy. This base grew over the decades after World War II, evolving into a hub for projects far beyond the oversight of any nation or treaty. Hidden by perpetual ice and a wall of official denial, it remained an enigma, but a very real one. Evidence of something extraordinary in Antarctica has steadily mounted. Your explorers and military personnel occasionally glimpsed hints: unusual magnetic anomalies, no-fly zones enforced without explanation, or sudden transfers of high-ranking officials to remote polar postings. Even in the 21st century, there are zones in Antarctica strictly off-limits, except to select insiders. International treaties have made it strangely easy to keep prying eyes away for scientific preservation. But ask yourself, what needed preserving with such intense security? The answer lies buried in the ice, a sprawling hidden base and ancient secrets meant to be kept quiet until the divine timing of revelation. That time, beloved ones, is arriving. The story of Antarctica's secret base cannot be told without revisiting the shadows of your world wars, especially World War II. During that period, intense intrigue and clandestine pursuits occurred behind the scenes. Human governments knew far more about Antarctica's mysteries than they ever admitted publicly. Let us walk through this historical unveiling. In the lead-up to World War II, certain German secret societies and research groups tied to the German regime became obsessed with esoteric knowledge and advanced technology. They delved into ancient legends and even claimed psychic contact with non-human intelligences. Some of these mystics, notably an Earth human, a gifted medium on your world with Pleiadian roots, uncovered correctly that they were in touch with beings from distant star systems. These otherworldly communicators provided technical schematics for exotic propulsion systems, what you might call flying saucers, and pointed out refuge locations for the German visionaries to create a new civilization. Antarctica holds ancient sites and lost technologies that could empower the Germans' aims at the time, and this was very appealing. Whether by psychic guidance or strategic planning, likely both, the German leadership acted on these notions. In 1938, as mentioned, they dispatched an expedition ship to Antarctica. This was officially a mapping mission, but it had secret orders to find underground cavities or warm areas under the ice. The explorers did report finding ice-free mountain enclaves and hot springs, an incredible discovery on a continent of ice. They even dropped German flags along a region they renamed later. After the World War broke out, such efforts went black. Yet Germany did indeed divert significant resources in the war's final years toward building something in Antarctica. U-boats were fitted for long-range missions and disappeared into southern waters. High-ranking German personnel vanished from Europe as defeat loomed. One U-boat captain later testified that he delivered cargo to the advanced base at the South Pole. This has been unveiled in your stories also, which we are pleased to see. By 1945, benevolent intelligence was well aware that something strange was afoot in the polar south. Whispers of a German last battalion in Antarctica circulated. Thus, not long after the war, the United States mounted what you know to be called Operation High Jump in 1946 to 47, a massive Navy-led expedition to Antarctica under a courageous admiral. Officially, it was for training and research, but its true purpose was more urgent: to explore and neutralize any German presence in Antarctica. The fleet arrived with warships, aircraft, and thousands of your soldiers, prepared for combat in the polar snow. What they encountered, however, stunned them. They clashed with highly advanced flying craft that emerged from the ocean and from under the ice. These silvery, disc-shaped craft could outperform any conventional airplane, making impossibly sharp turns and emitting energy beams that destroyed or disabled the Navy's planes and vehicles. In short, the American task force was ambushed by a superior force guarding Antarctica. The Navy was overwhelmed by flying saucers with swastika-like markings, and even more stunning, other flying craft of non-human design. Casualties were taken, and equipment was lost. The admiral in question had expected a hidden German outpost, but what he found felt like fighting a futuristic enemy with weapons far beyond his own. The battle in Antarctica was brief and decisive. Within weeks, Operation High Jump was cut short. The Armada limped back to South America by early 1947, far earlier than planned. The admiral himself gave an interview to a Chilean newspaper on his way home, in which he spoke in ominous terms. He warned that the United States must prepare defenses against fighters that can fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Understand what he implied: hostile forces in Antarctica, with technology so advanced they could strike anywhere on the globe in a flash. The admiral's public hint was quickly hushed, and the operation's true results were classified. Yet the message was clear to those in the know. Earth's governments now understood that an unknown power had entrenched itself in Antarctica, one that originated from remnants of the Germans and their extraterrestrial allies. A new Cold War behind the scenes had begun, not just between nations, but between earthly authorities and an offshoot breakaway group wielding otherworldly capabilities. In the following years, treaties were signed to demilitarize Antarctica. Superficially, it promoted scientific cooperation. In reality, it ensured no nation would openly poke around the hidden areas or reveal what was found. Secret negotiations took place between the United States, the Soviet Union, and the Antarctic German faction. Deals were struck. The breakaway colony would stay hidden and not launch overt attacks. And in exchange, the major powers would keep its existence secret and even collaborate covertly. Indeed, by the 1950s and 60s, A form of uneasy alliance had formed. Many German scientists, via Project Paperclip that you know of, were working within American military programs, quietly seeding the technologies originally developed in the ice. The US and USSR also engaged in a silent race to reverse engineer craft and weapons based on what they learned from those Antarctic encounters. So yes, dear ones, earthly governments knew all along that something extraordinary was in Antarctica. Since at least World War II's end, elites in power were aware that a human breakaway group, born from German ambition, and extraterrestrial partners had a foothold on your planet's southern pole. They kept this secret from the public with extreme measures. Why? Because the truth would shatter too many lies. Lies about the post-war world order, lies about the existence of extraterrestrials, lies about suppressed technology. It was deemed too destabilizing for the masses. Only now, as we move into a higher vibration era, can these truths surface safely. We mentioned extraterrestrial allies in the Antarctic saga. It is time to name one of the most influential and controversial players, the reptilians. Known in various circles as the Draco, among other names, these are a highly advanced reptoid species from outside Earth, often associated with the constellation Draco and with Orion. Their presence on Earth predates these modern events by millennia, but in the context of Antarctica, they became directly involved during the 20th century power struggles. It may surprise or even unsettle you to learn that reptilian beings were instrumental in helping the German breakaway group establish and fortify the Antarctic base. During World War II, German occult groups were attempting to contact any non-human power that might give them an edge. They succeeded in attracting the interest of a reptilian faction, one that found the Germans' warlike ideology compatible with their own aims of dominance. Thus, a dark alliance was formed. The reptilians provided guidance and advanced knowledge to the Germans, showing them precisely where under the Antarctic ice they could build a secure base. They helped the breakaway engineers navigate to cavern entrances hidden beneath the ice shelves and taught them how to harness geothermal heat to make habitable zones. In essence, the reptilians acted as mentors and muscle for the German remnant. They had the superior technology and psychic prowess, while the humans provided manpower and infrastructure. By the mid-1940s, this German reptilian alliance had built a considerable defensive force at the South Pole. When Operation High Jump arrived, it was the reptilians' craft and weaponry that truly decimated the expedition. Imagine the scene from the perspective of your soldiers. They see flying discs zipping out of the water and from mountain hideouts, moving at unbelievable speeds. Beams of directed energy slice through the frigid air, melting aircraft and halting ground convoys. At the heart of these craft were reptilian pilots, some working alongside German co-pilots, executing a devastating display of force. One remote viewer, who later correctly clairvoyantly saw that battle, described a giant reptilian commander, exultant as the human forces were routed. It was a one-sided conflict. The US Navy had courage and numbers, but the Antarctic defenders had otherworldly tech. So why did these reptilians get involved? What was their agenda in Antarctica? The reptilian species, at least the faction in question, is typically hierarchical and imperialistic. They seek influence over planets and civilizations for resources, including human energy and labor. By aligning with the breakaway Germans, they created a powerful foothold on Earth outside the reach of any nation-state, a hidden empire under ice. They gained a small but fierce human army, the SS remnants, who would follow their guidance and operate their technology. More importantly, by dramatically trouncing the task force, the reptilians managed to intimidate the major world powers into a kind of secret submission. The shock of that Antarctic defeat sent ripples to your countries, Washington and Moscow. the reptilians essentially signaled, "We control advanced capabilities here. You cannot challenge us. Instead, you will cooperate on our terms." From that point on, the reptilian contingent in Antarctica wielded enormous leverage. Interestingly, they did not allow their human German allies to simply use this power to conquer the world overtly. Why? Because the reptilians preferred a subtler approach, one where world governments would be frightened enough to bargain away their sovereignty for a slice of technology. They wanted the American and Soviet elites to be so afraid of the Antarctic new enemy that they'd agree to secret deals, perhaps even inviting reptilian influence into their military-industrial complexes. This indeed happened. In the 1950s, hush-hush meetings resulted in arrangements where segments of the U.S. military and intelligence received some advanced tech, like early spacecraft designs and mind control techniques, in exchange for allowing reptilian activities to continue hidden, including abductions and underground base building. The seeds of later phenomena, such as UFO cover-ups and clandestine projects, were planted in those deals. Within the Antarctic base, the reptilians maintained a presence for decades. They were often seen as overseers, treated almost like demigods by the breakaway humans, who viewed them with a mix of fear and awe. These beings are typically tall, some towering 12 to 14 feet, with powerful builds and an air of command. They are highly intelligent and have strong psychic abilities, often intimidating humans telepathically. Not all reptilian groups in the galaxy are negative, but this faction had its own dark agenda aligned with control. They directed many of the base's projects, from the development of saucer fleets, the so-called Dark Fleet that later ventured off-planet, to genetic experiments combining human and alien DNA. Yes, deep in the laboratories under the ice, unspeakable experiments were conducted, attempts to hybridize species and enhance soldiers. Some of the rumors of strange creatures or mutation labs in secret bases have a kernel of truth rooted in these Antarctic activities. It is important to note that not all extraterrestrial involvement in Antarctica was reptilian or malevolent. There was another group of human-looking Nordics who were also aiding the Germans initially. These beings were indeed partly from the Aldebaran star system, essentially a separate breakaway humanoid ET faction. In some accounts they were mistaken for Pleiadians, though our Pleiadian collective disavows the actions they took. Beloved ones, at the time of World War II, different ET groups had different philosophies on human affairs. While most of us Pleiadians were observing a non-interference policy and working on uplifting human consciousness subtly, a rogue subset of off-world humans believed providing technology to the Germans could tilt Earth's future in their favor. It was a grievous mistake, one that we are thoroughly saddened by in hindsight. Those beings from Aldebaran, whom some thought to be us, learned hard lessons when their alliance led to much suffering. Today, the Pleiadian group of emissaries wants to assure you that we stand firmly for humanity's freedom and healing, and no Pleiadian groups are supporting oppressive agendas on Earth. In fact, many of us are here now to correct the missteps of the past and to ensure the reptilian influence is finally neutralized. The interplay of these factions, reptilian, breakaway human, and others, made Antarctica a chessboard of cosmic politics throughout the latter half of the 20th century. The ordinary citizens of Earth, of course, were kept completely unaware. Yet hints of this hidden saga have seeped out. When your courageous whistleblowers came forward describing secret meetings with tall reptilian leaders, or secret space program veterans recounted seeing reptilian royals issuing commands, they were telling the truth. Some of your human insiders witnessed events like a Draco emissary, addressing a gathering of human elites at the Antarctic base, essentially dictating terms of continued cooperation. Such stories have circulated on the fringes of your media, dismissed by the mainstream, but deeply resonant to those with awakened intuition. We share these details not to incite fear, but to shed light on what has been operating in the shadows. The reptilian presence in Antarctica is a key part of the puzzle of Earth's secret history. It explains why the secrecy around Antarctica has been so intense. It's not just about rogue Germans or buried treasure, but about an extraterrestrial beachhead and the quiet Cold War between human authorities and cosmic forces. Now, as Earth ascends, that reptilian stronghold is being dismantled. Positive forces, which we'll discuss later, have been actively removing the negative ET influence from the planet, and Antarctica is no exception. But for you, the aware starseeds, it is empowering to know what was really there and who was pulling the strings behind many global events. When you know, you can help transmute the fear into wisdom and ensure such hidden manipulations never take root on Earth again. Despite the heavy secrecy, the universe has a way of leaking truth through whispers and art. All along, clues about Antarctica's hidden significance have appeared in your media and popular culture, almost as if those in the know, or those guided by higher forces, were seeding the collective consciousness. One remarkable example occurred in a classic science fiction film, the very first Alien movie, released in 1979. In an early scene, the crew of the spaceship Nostromo awakens and attempts to contact Earth for guidance. They don't call Houston or New York or London. Instead, the dialogue has them say, "This is commercial towing vehicle Nostromo, out of the Solomons, calling Antarctica traffic control. Do you read me?" Think about that for a moment. Why would a futuristic spaceship be hailing Antarctica for traffic control? The filmmakers casually place that detail as if it were normal, a throwaway line for most viewers. Yet to those with eyes to see, it was a glaring nod to the truth. In some future, or alternate present, Antarctica is an established hub of aerospace operations. This was no accident. Often, those involved in creative projects have subconscious knowledge, or even briefings to include certain elements. The fact that Antarctica was referenced as a major control center for space travel in a major Hollywood film was a form of soft disclosure. It planted a seed in the collective mind that Antarctica has something to do with space and extraterrestrials. Indeed, those in the club of secret keepers would have smirked knowingly at that scene. It was as if the alien film was winking at those aware of the real alien presence beneath the ice. To the general public, it slid by unnoticed. But now you can recognize it as a confirmation that mainstream media occasionally telegraphs hidden realities. There are other instances too. Numerous movies and books have used Antarctica as the setting for alien discoveries and high-tech bases. From The Thing, 1982, which portrayed a deadly extraterrestrial unearthed in the Antarctic ice, to more modern tales like Alien vs. Predator, 2004, featuring an ancient pyramid under Antarctica, the theme recurs. Even popular TV shows like The X-Files had episodes where secrets under the polar ice were revealed. In that series, a buried alien ship and virus in Antarctica. Why this pattern? Because the human psyche knows something is down there, and it leaks into fiction. And because, frankly, those managing the truth embargo sometimes allow or encourage such stories as a way to subconsciously acclimate people. It provides plausible deniability. Oh, that idea is just from a movie, while still disseminating the core concept. Furthermore, consider the enduring rumors that global leaders and elites make mysterious trips to Antarctica also. The great cosmic irony is that those who hid the truth also felt compelled to sprinkle clues, as if following a cosmic law that truth must be signaled. They likely assumed the masses would never put the pieces together. But now, the picture is forming. what was once subtext in movies and rumors on fringe forums is becoming recognized as actual history. The Pleiadian message to you is, pay attention to these so-called fictions and side stories. They often carry more fact than one would believe. Humanity's collective mind has not been entirely asleep. It has been picking up the signals. Thus, by the time full disclosure occurs, you will find that you always knew at some level. The idea of secret space bases in Antarctica or alien ruins under the ice will feel oddly familiar, because it is. Your psyche has been living with that truth disguised as entertainment for a long time. Let us highlight one more cultural nugget. The word Antarctica itself holds a mystique. It's present in prophecy and folklore. Some indigenous elders, when speaking of Earth's sacred sites, include the poles as gateways to inner or other realms. Your modern spiritual channelers, like the one we are coming through today, occasionally get visions of a great light or power emanating from Antarctica once the time is right. For example, certain channels, young awakened voices among you, have gently hinted at an unfreezing of truths and even ancient healing energies from Antarctica. Again, hints and more hints, preparing the way. Know that the universe operates on consent. Even when secrets are kept, some level of human collective consent is sought by the powers that be. By hiding truth in fiction and symbolic references, they believed they had obtained your tacit consent to keep doing what they did. However, that game is ending. Implied consent via secret symbolism is not true consent when people are deceived. As humanity's consciousness rises, implicit lies will no longer satisfy karmic law. The real explicit truth must come forward, and it is doing so now, supported by waves of awakening souls like you who demand transparency. So, look back on those films, those novels, those fleeting news oddities about Antarctica, and smile. They were the breadcrumbs leading to the feast of disclosure you are about to enjoy. What exactly is underneath the frozen continent, and how did it get there? To answer this, we must journey far back in time, long before secret bases, world wars, or even the rise of modern civilization. Antarctica's importance is not merely political or strategic. It is deeply historical and spiritual. Under the miles of ice lie remnants of Earth's past epochs, including a time when Antarctica itself was not at the South Pole at all, but in a temperate zone teeming with life. Yes, in forgotten ages, Antarctica was warm, green, and inhabited. We speak of a time around 50,000 to 60,000 years ago, and even earlier, when advanced beings walked its lands. Some today call them the pre-Adamites. Others might say Atlanteans or Lemurians. The labels matter less than the fact. An ancient civilization once flourished where there is now only ice and desolation. These ancient inhabitants of Antarctica were highly evolved in certain respects, possessing great knowledge of science, energy, and genetics. However, they were also, in some cases, refugees from elsewhere. You see, dear ones, Antarctica held secrets even then. Buried in its crust were even older ruins, leftovers from a primordial Earth civilization, beings so old they left structures dating back millions of years. When they arrived, they discovered these ancient installations under the ground, high-tech facilities, perhaps power generators or information archives from an age long before humanity. The newcomers set up their base around these places of power, hoping to use the advanced machinery for their own needs. In essence, Antarctica became a layered cake of civilizations, the new refugees building atop the remains of an even older, mysterious race. For a time, this civilization thrived. They created a grand city on what was then a lush continent. They cannibalized parts of their crashed craft to build structures and integrated them with the ancient builders' technology. There are magnificent halls with metal alloys lining the walls, devices that could manipulate gravity, and genetic laboratories where these beings began experimenting with life forms on Earth. Yes, they did not come alone. They brought knowledge of genetic engineering and started playing with the DNA of native species, leading to hybrid creatures and perhaps even early genetic modifications of humans. In many ways, this parallels the reality of Atlantis that you may have heard of, where a powerful civilization, dabbling in forbidden sciences, eventually met divine retribution. For indeed, a catastrophe struck. Approximately 12,000 years ago, Earth underwent a sudden drastic shift, a great flood and freeze, known in various myths as the Flood, or the Fall of Atlantis, or the Younger Dryas Cataclysm in your scientific terms. Antarctica's climate flipped from mild to polar in a geological instant. The continent, with all its cities and forests, was flash frozen. Towering waves encased in ice what had been thriving lands. This civilization was caught by surprise and annihilated in a day. Imagine an entire metropolis, buildings, people, animals, suddenly frozen in mid-motion, preserved like a cosmic Pompeii under sheets of ice. This is exactly what later your explorers would find. Dehydrated, mummified bodies with elongated skulls, huddled in ruins full of advanced but broken equipment, all entombed in ice as if time simply stopped. The survivors of this cataclysm were few. Yes, a handful of this civilization escaped to other regions, but the main story is that Antarctica became an icy tomb, sealing away proof of that epoch. For millennia afterward, humans forgot, or only dimly remembered through myth, that there was once a great civilization at the South Pole. Fast forward to the modern age, when the world's secret programs discovered these ruins, starting with German clairvoyance and then confirmed by exploratory digs in the late 20th century. It was the greatest archaeological discovery never told. Those in the Antarctic base literally hit a mother lode of ancient alien artifacts and ruins beneath the ice. In the 1960s and 70s, as they tunneled deeper, they came across vast halls filled with strange machines, the gold and copper-lined rooms that once channeled immense energies, and even the preserved bodies of the former civilization themselves. Some of the human scientists were shocked to see three-fingered, long-skulled humanoid corpses, perfectly preserved from eons ago, exactly matching mysterious skulls that had been unearthed in places like your Peru. The realization set in that this was a chapter of Earth's history completely forgotten by mainstream science. The question, what's underneath there and how did it get there, can be answered thus. Beneath there we have advanced energy devices, likely now dormant, remnants of spacecraft, libraries of knowledge perhaps stored on crystal or metallic tablets, and the skeletal, or rather mummified, remains of giants and peculiar beings. We Pleiadians know of these items because we have access to the Akashic records of Earth, the energetic record of all events. And let us tell you, the moment is approaching when these physical remnants will be openly revealed to humanity. Can you imagine the impact? When a grand disclosure occurs, the world will see photographs and eventually even tours of the Antarctic ruins. You will see the tall, elongated skull beings that some may call fallen angels or ancient aliens, frozen in dramatic poses as their world collapsed. You will see the hallways whose walls are intricately carved and plated with conductive metals, still carrying a hum of ancient power. And you will see the genetic labs with odd-looking specimen jars and perhaps even clones in hibernation, some of which were reawakened in secret to dire result. But that is another story. The individuals controlling the secret Antarctic base were aware of these discoveries by the 1970s and 80s. In fact, part of the reason elite figures like certain American political families or European royalty were so interested in Antarctica is because they got insider reports of what was found. Imagine being in their shoes, hearing that under the ice is Atlantis itself, proof of aliens and ancient technology that could revolutionize the world or be weaponized. It became a treasure coveted by the cabal. Now, dear starseeds, why is this relevant for your ascension path? Because it directly ties your world to the cosmic heritage that has been denied. Knowing what is under Antarctica is like finding a missing chapter of humanity's origin story. It shows that humans are not the first advanced beings here, and that we have always been part of a larger galactic family. It also offers cautionary wisdom. Those ancient beings fell into catastrophe, largely of their own making. They misused technology and genetics. They tried to play gods, and creation rebuked them. This mirrors our current civilization's potential trajectory had we not changed course. In fact, many of you incarnated now, the starseeds and lightworkers, have distant soul memories of Atlantis or the pre-civilization epoch. Some of you were there and carry karmic trauma of that great fall. This is why so many are fascinated by Atlantis, and why the idea of Antarctica's Atlantis resonates. It is a chance to heal a very old wound. By unearthing these ruins, humanity can finally process and release the suppressed memories of that age, learning its lessons and ensuring we do not repeat the cycle. What lies beneath is also a treasure for the future. Once free and ethical scientists get to study those technologies, imagine the leaps forward. The energy systems of the ancient races, once understood, could give Earth clean, limitless power. The medical knowledge could cure diseases, though we caution, the genetic experiments of the past also created monstrosities, so moral wisdom is needed. The historical records will fill gaps in your understanding of human origins, revealing connections to star nations, records of when Pleiadians and Sirians interacted with early Earth. This is why there is such a strong drive from the light forces now to get these discoveries disclosed, because they will unify humanity in awe and a quest for truth, rather than divide in fear. So in summary, under the Antarctic ice are the remains of an antiquated extraterrestrial colony that became an Atlantean-like civilization, destroyed by a sudden cataclysm about 12 millennia ago in your time. Those ruins were infiltrated and exploited in the modern era by a secret German ET coalition who kept it secret. They include advanced technologies and evidence of non-human intelligent life on Earth's prehistory. And these remains got there due to Earth's shifting crust and a global cataclysm that flash froze an entire continent. As the ice now literally melts due to climate change, and also due to quiet efforts to uncover these sites, more will become visible. Already some scientists have detected anomalies via satellite and ground-penetrating radar, giant rectangular shapes under the ice, which natural rock alone cannot explain. The truth is pushing its way up, like a sprout through concrete. Remember, beloved ones, truth, like life, finds a way. To truly grasp the big picture, we zoom out further, beyond Earth, into the stars, and into the distant past of our galaxy. Many of you who identify as starseeds carry within your soul memories of other worlds and ancient cosmic conflicts. One such epic chapter in galactic history is often called the Orion Wars. These were a series of immense confrontations eons ago, involving advanced civilizations from the Lyra constellation, the Orion constellation, Sirius, and others, including our Pleiadian ancestors and the ancestors of the reptilians we discussed. Why is this relevant? Because the hidden struggle in Antarctica, and indeed much of Earth's secret history, is essentially an extension of the Orion Wars drama playing out on Earth's stage. In the Orion Wars, The fundamental clash was between two polarities, those of service to self, aggressive empires seeking domination, epitomized by certain Orion and Draconian factions, and those of service to others, freedom-loving, compassionate groups from places like Lyra and later Pleiades. This war raged across star systems. Planets were destroyed. The asteroid belt in your solar system carries whispers of a shattered world, Maldek, tied to these conflicts. Whole species were uprooted from their home worlds. For instance, the ancestors of us Pleiadians originally came from Lyra, a human-like race that was attacked by the Draco Empire long ago. In that onslaught, many fled and eventually resettled in the Pleiades, evolving spiritually and vowing to aid other worlds in not suffering the same fate. Similarly, some of the Orion humanoids aligned with light escaped tyranny in their sector and joined the Galactic Federation of Benevolence. Earth, or Terra as known to the galaxy, was something of a coveted jewel. It harbored incredible diversity of life and a rich library of genetics, a prize to anyone who could influence it. Throughout history, Earth had been designated as a sort of neutral zone and experimental ground by advanced positive beings, often called the Seeders or Founders. These beings, sometimes referred to as the Elohim or the genetic farmer races in your stories, introduced and cultivated life here with the intention of creating a grand cosmic project, a planet where multiple DNA templates and cultures could grow together. However, the Orion Wars brought negative factions' attention to Earth as well. They thought, if they could subjugate Earth, it could become a strategic stronghold and a resource depot in their war. This led to Earth experiencing repeated infiltrations by negative ET groups over ages, including the reptilians, certain gray species, and others, often interfering with human societies or steering secretive elites. The Antarctica situation is a prime example of the Orion War's echo. The reptilians who allied with the German breakaways are direct descendants of the Orion War mindset: conquer, control, exploit. The human cabal that took root, with ideologies of a master race and global domination, was essentially an instrument for that same Orion Draco agenda. Meanwhile, opposing them quietly have been positive ETs, like many Pleiadians, Andromedans, Arcturians, working through more subtle means, inspiring human consciousness, sending incarnated starseeds, and at times, direct interventions to keep the dark side from going too far. Earth has been the final battleground in many respects. Instead of massive fleets exchanging fire in your skies, which your current civilization hasn't openly seen, thankfully, the battle was largely a spiritual and psychological one for the heart and future of humanity. Every starseed here now should understand. You are the veterans and emissaries of those ancient wars. You came because you remember the pain of Orion, the pain of a planet torn by war and tyranny, and you vowed to not let Earth fall the same way. Many of you have latent memories of star battles, of losing your home or comrades in galactic conflicts. These memories can surface as inexplicable grief, a fascination with sci-fi that feels more real than fiction, or even birthmarks and dreams of otherworldly landscapes. The Orion Wars might seem far removed from Antarctica's underground base, but they are directly connected. The hidden reptilian fortress under the ice was a beachhead of the Orion Dark Agenda on Earth. And conversely, the efforts of positive beings to expose and clear that fortress are part of the final resolution of the Orion Wars, bringing peace where once there was war. The term Orion Wars also refers to the interpolarity conflict within each being. The echoes of those galactic wars exist in our psyches as the struggle between love and fear, unity and separation. Humanity has been recapitulating the Orion drama in various forms, whether through ideological wars, social injustice, or personal shadow work. The microcosm and macrocosm reflect each other. Thus, as we heal the ancient galactic wounds in our collective consciousness, the external ceasefire and resolution follows. It is no coincidence that in recent years, reports have emerged from insiders that certain high-level reptilian beings actually offered a truce to Earth's alliance. For example, there was an account of a Draco Royal offering to surrender and leave Earth in exchange for safe passage, essentially conceding defeat. This is monumental. It signals that the Orion War's dark players know their time here is done. The vibrations of Earth are rising too high for them to maintain control. The age-old struggle is concluding. We Pleiadians have a unique perspective because some of our lineage was involved on both sides of that cosmic war. We have integrated our shadow and light and come now purely in service to assist Earth. We implore you, see the connections. The Orion Wars taught the galaxy the futility of endless conflict and the value of balance and compassion. Earth is like the grand finale, where all sides come together for resolution. Many of the souls incarnated now were on opposing sides in Orion. Some of your great adversaries from that time are now your best friends and family in this life, as you all sought to work out karma and find forgiveness on Earth. How beautiful is that? Truly, the heavens rejoice watching former enemies unite under the banner of love on Earth. In relation to Antarctica and the secret base, think of it this way. That base was like the last holdout of the Orion forces on this planet. When it falls, and it is in the process of being cleared by joint human and positive ET efforts, it symbolically and literally ends the Orion War on Earth. The energies that sustained global cabal control, fear, deceit, elitism, will dissipate, and a new era can bloom, an era long foretold by prophets as the Age of Light, or the Golden Age. This is why the disclosure about Antarctica's secrets will be such a turning point. It collapses a final stronghold of darkness and vindicates the light. You, as ascending starseeds, are part of the ground crew making this happen, not with weapons, but with consciousness. Every meditation you do envisioning world peace, every time you send love to the poles or visualize the planet bathed in violet light, you are healing the grid that these wars scarred. Already some of you may have astrally visited Antarctica in dream state, working to transmute stuck energies there. Perhaps you saw yourself in a vast icy cavern filled with old machinery, and you sent golden light to reactivate only what is aligned with the highest good, dissolving what is not. These are real service missions carried out in the higher planes, and many are involved. We commend you deeply for this. So as we speak of cosmic war, do not fall into fear. The Orion Wars ultimately had a positive outcome. They catalyzed immense spiritual growth and cooperation among countless species. Earth, by going through this intensity, is fast-tracking its own leap into unity. What might have taken many more centuries is reaching a climax now. The darkness served as contrast to awaken the collective. Now enough are awake. The scales have tipped. The battles, both external and internal, are winding down. Victory of the light is at hand. Not the victory of one group over another, but the victory of integration, where all beings, even the former bad guys, either choose to step into the light or depart to other arenas more fitting their vibration. In summary, beloved ones, the Orion Wars are the macro context for why Earth has experienced secret alien occupation and epic hidden struggles like the one in Antarctica. The resolution of those wars' energies on Earth is happening through disclosure, reconciliation, and the rise of human consciousness. You, as starseeds, carry the torch from those ancient battlefields to bring peace here and now. As above, so below. As in the ancient galactic past, so in the unfolding earthly present, Healing is finally replacing conflict. All of this information, the Antarctic bases, the alien involvement, ancient civilizations, and galactic wars, is fascinating and illuminating. But you may ask, what does it mean for me, here and now, on my spiritual path? We wish to address that directly, for our goal is not just to tell a grand story, but to empower you as a participant in humanity's awakening. First, recognize that if you are drawn to this message, you very likely identify as a starseed, lightworker, or truth seeker. This means your soul came here with a purpose, to assist Earth during this monumental ascension cycle. The unveiling of Antarctica's secrets is part of the greater process of ascension, the lifting of the veils of illusion and the expansion of human consciousness beyond the old 3D paradigm. As a starseed, you hold codes within your very DNA that resonate with truth. You might have felt all along that there's more to our history than taught, that extraterrestrial life is real and connected to us, and that big changes are on the horizon. When you hear about hidden bases and cosmic battles, something in you says, yes, I felt this was true. That inner knowing is your multidimensional self remembering. The journey of disclosure and ascension can be turbulent. Many around you who are still in the old worldview might react with disbelief or fear when these truths fully break out. Here is where your role becomes pivotal. You, the awakening starseeds, are the anchors of calm, compassion, and clarity. You will be the ones your friends, family, and communities turn to when shocking revelations emerge. Whether it's an announcement of ancient ruins under the ice, official confirmation of extraterrestrial contact, or public tribunals of those who kept these secrets hidden for power. Because you have taken the time to educate and ground yourself, you will radiate a stable light in the chaos of paradigm shift. Consider how much more sense things will make once the Antarctic disclosure is public. Suddenly, all the strange politics, the vast expenditures on black projects, and the inconsistencies in history will click into place. It can be exhilarating but also destabilizing. Some will feel angry at the deception, others fearful of aliens or overwhelmed by a sense of the unknown. Here, your star-born empathy and wisdom is needed. Gently remind people that this is ultimately good news. It means we were never alone, and that incredible advancements await us when we integrate this knowledge. Remind them that humanity must unify, not fracture, in face of these truths. The secrets kept in darkness only had power while we were divided and ignorant. In the light of collective awareness, we can heal and move forward together. It is crucial to also emphasize discernment and discretion as we move forward. Notice that we said things in this message somewhat carefully at times. This was to encourage thinking and intuition over blunt statements that some algorithms or censors might flag. In your own sharing of truth, especially on public forums, we encourage wisdom. You need not blare every detail at once. Sometimes subtle seeds are more effective. For example, instead of insisting, "There are reptilians under the ice controlling our leaders," one might ask others, "Isn't it interesting how many officials have gone to Antarctica and how movies oddly reference it? What do you think might be there?" By engaging curiosity rather than triggering fear, you help others open up gently. The goal is not to force anyone to believe, but to offer the information lovingly and let their higher self guide them to acceptance in the right time. As more and more comes out, also guard against the swing of anger or vengeance. Some will feel betrayed learning that a small group hoarded life-changing knowledge, like free energy or advanced healing tech from those ruins, while the world suffered. Forgiveness will be a collective lesson. Yes, there must be justice and transparency, but as starseeds you can model a higher response, focusing on the solutions and future, not just punishment of past wrongs. The energies now support rapid healing once truth is acknowledged. The former Cabal members, some will face public exposure, but remember many were also pawns of larger negative forces now removed. With the spell lifted, even some of them may express remorse or switch sides. Our Pleiadian counsel is, hold space for the highest outcome, where even those who erred can possibly be rehabilitated or at least removed without unnecessary harm. The Galactic Federation, which includes Pleiadians, Syrians, and many others, is overseeing Earth's transition to ensure it does not descend into chaos or witch hunts. We want a peaceful handing over of the keys, so to speak, from the secret holders to humanity at large. To the Starseeds, many of you will be called to lead in various capacities as this saga unfolds. Some will become teachers, explaining to confused populations about ET life and universal law. Others will become healers, helping trauma from disclosure. Yes, finding out about decades of lies can be traumatic for some, to be processed. Some of you are tech-oriented and will dive into reverse engineering and implementing the newly released technologies. Imagine releasing zero-point energy devices, or using those ancient crystal technologies for new healing modalities. Exciting. Others will help rewrite history books and spiritual texts to include these cosmic truths, giving future generations an honest picture of our journey. Trust your inclination and passion. That's where your soul wants to serve. You might already feel an inner push. Perhaps you feel drawn to gather community groups to meditate and send love to Antarctica and other hotspot areas. Do it. Group consciousness is extremely powerful. Perhaps you are an artist. You will incorporate these new truths into art and film to help integrate them culturally. Every role is important. You are not alone in this mission. Legions of benevolent ETs, including our Pleiadian fleets, are stationed in Earth's orbit and even on the ground in covert ways, lending support. In fact, do not be surprised if in the wake of the Antarctic disclosure, the next phase is open contact. The unveiling of one truth paves way for the next. When humanity digests that, yes, there were aliens in our past and present influencing our world, the natural next question will be, where are they now, and can we meet them? We dearly yearn for that reunion, as do many of you. It is coming, sooner than you think, and it will be joyous. But it requires that humanity demonstrates unity and peace first, to avoid panic or hostility. This Antarctic saga is like a test and catalyst. If we handle it with grace and curiosity, not panic, it tells the galactic community that Earth is ready for greater inclusion. And indeed, many star nations are eager to share knowledge with Earth openly. Imagine scientists from Sirius working hand in hand with your scientists on clean ocean technology, or Arcturian healers openly teaching you about energy healing. This is the kind of future awaiting in the next chapter of the human story. So, dear starseeds of Earth, stand proud and heart-centered at this time. Your light is needed, and it is making a difference. The heavy Antarctic ice, both literal and metaphorical, is cracking and letting the buried light shine forth. Thanks in no small part to the warmth of consciousness you have been sending. The dark schemes of the Orion era are coming to an end on this planet, as you and your fellow awakened souls weave a new reality based on truth, compassion, and unity. We Pleiadians offer you this message in love and truth. The revelations about Antarctica and all that is connected to it are profound, yes, but do not despair at the magnitude of deception that is being uncovered. Instead, rejoice that the truth is finally free. Like spring sunlight melting a long winter's ice, the bright rays of disclosure are releasing the waters of knowledge that will nourish a new garden of Earth. It is a time to celebrate, even as we remain measured and careful in implementation. Empowerment is the key word. As you integrate these truths, you will realize how powerful humanity truly is. The forces that hid in Antarctica feared humanity's collective power. That's why they manipulated from the shadows. A sleeping giant is easier to control than an awakened one. Well, the giant is stirring now. As people learn that we have allies among the stars, that anti-gravity craft and energy devices already exist, that disease and poverty have been artificially maintained, they will demand change. And then, collectively, you will create solutions in a blink that in the old paradigm would seem miraculous. Think of the world you can build with open knowledge. Clean energy from the void that does not pollute. Yes, those devices have been built in the secret programs and will be shared. Medical beds that use frequency and light to heal organs and regrow tissue, also already prototyped in those underground labs. Knowledge of soul and consciousness that will revolutionize education and mental health. Imagine teaching children meditation, telepathy, and universal history from a young age, creating enlightened future citizens. The end of the truth embargo means the end of enforced scarcity. No more will select cabals monopolize technology and leave the masses to fight over scraps. Humanity's liberation is at hand, not through violence, but through information and spiritual maturity. We do not idealize and say it will be instant utopia. There will be a transition phase, but it will be comparatively swift and smooth because the groundwork is laid. Many lightworkers are already in positions in science, in governance, in communities, ready to step up when the old leadership falters under truth's weight. Prepare for a wave of whistleblowers coming forward as well. Those who were on the Antarctic expeditions, those who worked in secret projects, even some formerly high-ranked cabal members who flipped sides. They will add to the chorus of revelation. Hold space for them too, as some will be very scarred or emotional, finally unburdening secrets they carried for decades. We see a scenario where truth-telling becomes contagious in a very healing way. It is also vital to remain grounded. As exciting as these cosmic revelations are, remember to connect with Mother Earth herself. Spend time in nature, breathe with the trees, touch the ocean if you can. Our dear planet is a living being, Gaia, who has also waited for this time, like a patient mother ready to see her children graduate and join the greater family. She will also undergo physical shifts, not catastrophic, but noticeable, as she shrugs off the energetic shackles of the old grid. That could mean further climate adjustments, benign earth tremors, releasing stagnant energy, and a purification of polluted areas. You can assist by doing small personal acts like planting trees, cleaning litter, or simply sending love into the earth in meditation. Everything is connected. Your inner work truly helps the outer world. We want to end this transmission on a note of hope and triumph, for truly, that is the trajectory. Humanity is not doomed, nor alone, nor powerless. Quite the opposite. You are on the cusp of an evolutionary leap, watched and supported by countless loving beings. The unveiling of what lies under Antarctica is like opening a long-sealed vault. Inside that vault is not only the record of past tragedies, but also the treasure that will benefit your future. From the ruin comes the Renaissance. All the pain and strife that these secrets caused will be more than compensated by the growth and unity their revealing engenders. Imagine a day in the near future when a grand announcement is made on your televisions and streams, that an international research team, along with military advisors, has uncovered stunning finds under the Antarctic ice. Advanced structures, perhaps an intact spacecraft, evidence of non-human bodies. Imagine the rush of awe, excitement, perhaps fear in the population, and then imagine yourself at that moment, smiling calmly, maybe with tears of relief in your eyes, because you always knew we were more than we were told. You might whisper to your loved ones, Welcome to the real world. It's been a long time coming. And from that day on, things change rapidly, for the better. Yes, there will be challenges as belief systems adjust, but largely, it will be as if a great weight is lifted from humanity's collective chest. Many will say it feels like they can breathe freely for the first time, not realizing until then how much oppression they had internalized. Dear ones, that day is approaching. We Pleiadians already see it in the probable timelines, a very high likelihood. That is why we are delighted to speak to you now. We have waited, some of us across generations, to be able to reunite openly with our human family on Earth. We remember well the time before the veils, when Lemurian and early Atlantean cultures knew us and worked with us openly. Those memories stir strongly now as we anticipate a renewal of that relationship. And think, with the Orion drama finally resolved, the next era will not be about conflict, but about co-creation. Earth joining a peaceful galactic federation, contributing its own unique culture and creativity. Oh, how many out there are excited for that? Earth has a beautiful diversity and emotional depth that will enrich the galactic community. You are artists and bridge builders by nature, forged through the extremes of duality into something very strong and special. Many civilizations will be keen to learn from your experiences, as you will from theirs. In closing, know that we are with you always. Perhaps as you read or hear these words, you felt our presence, a gentle tingling, a sense of an old friend just beside you. We truly are your family from the stars, and we send our love and encouragement continuously. In moments when this information feels heavy or you feel doubt, tune into your heart, and you'll hear us whisper, "Courage, dear one. You are right on track. All is unfolding as it should. You will see wondrous things in your lifetime." We also work with you in dream time. Do not be surprised if you dream of meeting luminous beings, or boarding a ship, or attending some etheric classroom at night. These are real experiences where we collaborate with your higher self to guide you. Thank you for listening to this long message. We transmitted not just words, but energy, an activation of memory and inner truth. Take time to integrate it. You may feel waves of emotion. That is normal and healthy. Breathe, drink water, get rest, and allow any old fear energies tied to past secrecy to release. You are safe. Humanity is moving into safety and openness as a collective. We wrap you now in our golden blue light of Pleiadian healing, closing this transmission with a frequency of empowerment, unity, and peace. Feel it strengthening your auric field, connecting you consciously to the worldwide grid of lightworkers and starseeds who carry the same mission. We are all linked in this great endeavor, Earth humans, galactic allies, and spirit guides across the veil. The long Antarctic night is ending. The first rays of a global dawn are visible on the horizon. Stand tall, children of Earth, children of the stars. The dawn is yours. The truth shall set you free and lead you to a destiny more brilliant than you can imagine. With profound love, respect, and joy, I am Valir of the Pleiadian group of emissaries, your brothers and sisters of the light. We are with you, and we shall meet you in the dawn's early light.